What the heck is street photography? Is it just about pointing a camera at strangers, or is it something deeper? Is it about capturing the chaos of the city, or the quiet moments hidden in plain sight? Street photography is more than just images. It's a visual heartbeat of humanity, a mirror held up to the ever-changing face of society. From the earliest days, visionaries like Charles Nègre and Henri Cartier-Bresson saw the streets not just as pathways, but as stages where life's most profound stories unfold. Nègre roamed the vibrant streets of 19th century Paris, capturing the city's pulse through fleeting moments and candid glimpses of its people, revealing the soul of the urban tapestry. His pioneering spirit laid the groundwork for street photography. Cartier-Bresson, with his concept of the decisive moment, elevated this vision, capturing the essence of spontaneous human interactions and the rhythm of city life in mid-20th century. Together, their work forms a rich legacy of capturing life in its most authentic form. Today, we continue their legacy, learning not just how to take a photograph, but how to craft images that resonate with the heart. In this video, we'll journey through the history of street photography, discover how to create timeless images that immortalize the present, and learn practical techniques to elevate your street photography game. Whether you're just starting out or looking to refine your craft, by the end of this video, you won't just understand street photography, you'll master the art of immortalizing life in its most timeless form.
Street photography is my sanctuary, my therapy. It's a way to help me make sense of this world. It's a way to help ground me in the present and forget about all the trials and tribulations. To me, street photography immortalizes the present. After all, would we be talking about history's important figures like artists, directors, or photographers if you've never seen their work? Would you know who Mona Lisa was if she was never painted? So I just feel like street photography truly immortalizes the present. Because in 50, 100 years from now, we're all gonna be gone. And all that will remain is the stuff that we've left behind. Whether our memories, our family, our friends, or our photos, street photography is my therapy. Yeah.
Street photography makes the present timeless, immortalizing moments that might otherwise be lost forever. Our journey into the heart of street photography begins in the vibrant streets of 19th century Paris. Here, amidst the hustle and bustle of a rapidly modernizing city, two visionaries began to capture the essence of everyday life, transforming fleeting moments into timeless art. Charles Nègre, best known for his pioneering photography, was one of the earliest to turn his lens toward the streets of Paris. He captured both the ordinary and the extraordinary, the bustling markets, the quiet alleyways, and the fleeting moments of daily life. Through his eyes, Paris became more than just a backdrop. It was a stage where the soul of the city came alive. Then came Henri Cartier-Bresson, whose unparalleled sense of timing brought a new depth to street photography. Cartier-Bresson's work wasn't just about capturing what was visible, it was about seizing those crucial instances that unveiled the essence of a moment. His images, brimming with raw emotion and precise composition, redefined the art of observing and documenting life. These pioneers didn't just document their surroundings, they gave us a window into their world. Their work inspired generations of photographers to capture not just images, but stories. As we move forward, let's carry their legacy with us, using their insights to refine our own vision and technique in capturing the essence of our modern streets. So what exactly makes street photography an art form? It's not just about taking photos. It's about seeing the world through a different lens, finding beauty in the mundane, and capturing the stories unfolding around us. In this segment, we'll dive into the artistry of street photography, exploring how to capture compelling moments, use light creatively, and convey deep emotions. In order to capture compelling moments, you must immerse yourself in the environment. Observe the city's rhythm, the interplay of light and shadow, and the human interactions around you. Look for spontaneous, unplanned moments that tell a story. These are often the most powerful.
So right now I'm out in the streets with no rhyme or reason. I'm just out here vibing right now, you feel me? Seeing whatever catches my attention and, just chilling, I don't have anything specifically that I'm looking for at this minute. Again, I'm just vibing right now, and we're gonna see what kind of shots we get over the next 15, 20 minutes, so let's get it.
Light is your greatest ally. Experiment with natural light at various times of the day. Morning and evening offer dramatic shadows and golden hues. Utilize contrast to create mood and depth, and even harsh midday light can be used to emphasize features or surroundings. To convey emotion, focus on genuine expressions and gestures. Capture candid moments that reflect true feelings, whether it's a shared smile or a solitary figure lost in thought. Be patient and unobtrusive, waiting for those raw moments that resonate deeply with viewers.
So right now it's about 1:30 and it is crazy bright out here, as you could probably see from that sun right there. It's crazy bright out here, so I'm probably not going to be able to get a lot of details in my shots the way I normally would if it was like golden hour. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna look for those highly contrasted spots between the light and the shade, and then I'm gonna go from there. I'm gonna probably try to get like those silhouette shots, maybe some good isolation shots. So since it's so bright right now, I'm probably just gonna exclusively look for places where there's huge contrast between the light and shade, and then probably take it from there. So let's get it.
When shooting in brighter conditions, it's essential to keep your ISO low to maintain image quality and reduce noise. This allows you to capture sharp details and vibrant colors, ensuring that your photos reflect the true beauty of the scene. Additionally, using a low ISO gives you more flexibility to adjust your aperture and shutter speed, helping you achieve the desired depth of field and motion effects in your street photography. To achieve this effectively, especially in brighter conditions, using an ND filter is nearly essential. Think of ND filters as sunglasses for your lens. They reduce the amount of light entering the camera. This allows you to maintain a low ISO while still using wider apertures or slower shutter speeds, enabling you to create beautiful effects like motion blur or a shallow depth of field, even in challenging lighting conditions. Think about the balance of your composition and how various elements can enhance storytelling. Experiment with different angles and perspectives to find unique ways of seeing the world. The more you practice, the more intuitive this process will become, allowing you to capture moments that speak volumes. Remember, every time you pick up your camera, you have the chance to create something meaningful. Embrace the journey of discovery and let your artistic vision guide you.
I think one of the most crucial questions to ask yourself is, why do you take photos?
What are you truly seeking when you press the shutter? Is it the brief connection between strangers, the unnoticed beauty of the everyday, or perhaps the stories unfolding around you? What draws your eye? These aren't just technical questions. They're an invitation to understand what speaks to you as an artist. By reflecting on these deeper motivations, you'll not only sharpen your instincts as a street photographer, but also develop a personal vision that elevates your work. Knowing why you capture a moment helps you connect more authentically with the world around you, allowing you to tell stories that resonate on a deeper level. To truly capture the essence of street photography, mastering your camera settings is essential. In this segment, we'll focus on the key settings you need to understand in order to elevate your street photography. We'll cover manual mode, shutter speed, aperture, ISO, focal length, metering modes, white balance, and focus modes, providing you with the tools to take stunning street photos. When I'm out in the streets, I rely exclusively on manual mode for complete control over exposure. Auto mode can be limiting because it often guesses the exposure based on averages, which can flatten the unique contrast of street scenes. Manual mode lets me adapt precisely to every shift in light, capturing each scene with intention, whether I'm in direct sunlight or a shadowed alleyway. Shutter speed is all about timing. In street photography, I often work with faster shutter speeds, between 1 and 2/50th and 1 and 500th of a second, to freeze action and keep details sharp, like a person mid-stride or in a quick turn. If my images aren't coming out as sharp as I'd like, or if I want to freeze elements, such as rain or snow, I'll start around 1 and 1,000th of a second or higher. But just as often, if not more, I like to slow down my shutter speed, anywhere from 1/8th to 1/80th of a second. second when I want to capture a sense of motion, adding flow and depth to the image. Each speed has its own feel, so it's about choosing what fits the moment. And if you're curious about taking this further, check out my recent video on long exposure techniques for an in-depth exploration.
Remember, photography is all about timing. Always keep your camera ready, as the most striking images often happen unexpectedly.
Being ready is key, and so is knowing how to shape your shot. That's where Aperture comes in. Aperture isn't just about light, it's about focus and depth. For street scenes, I typically start with an f7 aperture. It's a solid middle ground that provides enough depth to avoid unwanted blur, capturing the subjects and their surroundings clearly. From there, I adjust based on the subjects and lighting conditions. If I want a specific subject to pop, I'll use a wide aperture like f2.8 or lower to create a shallow depth of field and isolate them. But for scenes where I want everything sharp, like a crowded street corner, I'll close down to f11 or f16. Aperture is my go-to tool for either adding context or emphasizing details, depending on what the scene calls for. ISO adjusts your camera's sensitivity to light. A lower ISO means less sensitivity, keeping detail sharp in bright conditions. During the day, I keep it simple, with a max of 400 to preserve detail. As it gets darker, I'll go up to 1600, just enough to maintain quality without overpowering the shot with grain. This limit keeps my photos consistent, so I can focus on the action without worrying about excessive noise. Focal length shapes the perspective and narrative of an image. I tend to use a wide-angle lens, around 20 to 35 millimeters, for capturing the full scene or scale, pulling viewers into chaotic cityscapes and adding a sense of immersion. The 50 millimeter lens, which mimics the human eye and is often chosen for its lifelike, natural perspective, is ideal for capturing spontaneous portraits that invite viewers into the subject's world without distortion. A tighter focal length, like the 75 millimeter, subtly compresses the background, emphasizing the subject and creating an intimate, layered effect. If you're just starting out, try sticking to one focal length for a week or even a month. This lets you understand its strengths, but also its limitations. When I want to get to know a lens inside and out, I commit to using it exclusively for a month. This focus builds confidence and reveals how each lens complements my unique style. For instance, through this method, I've learned that I prefer wider lenses when I'm shooting in an unpredictable crowd. A wider lens allows me to capture more of the scene, giving me flexibility to crop later if needed. However, there's just something unmatched about the 50mm. The way it mimics the human eye makes me feel as if I'm right in the action. Each focal length offers a unique perspective, and by dedicating time to each, you'll start discovering which lenses feel most natural for your style and the stories you want to tell. I keep metering simple and effective. Multi-metering is my go-to for balanced exposure across the frame, while highlight metering steps in when I'm dealing with intense, high-contrast scenes. For those curious about the other modes, spot metering narrows focus to a specific area, perfect for isolating a subject's exposure, while center-weighted keeps the focus in the middle. Entire screen average spreads the exposure across the whole frame for an even balance. Each mode has its use, but I reach for the ones that help me capture just the right mood and depth in any light. White balance plays a big role in setting the color mood, but for me, keeping things simple is key. I stick to auto white balance in street photography because it adapts well across scenes, letting me focus more on the moment. But if you're after a specific look, you can try setting it manually, like 5600K for natural tones and sunlight, or 3200K for a cooler indoor feel. A quick adjustment can shift the warmth or coolness of the shot, adding character to fit the vibe of the scene. I rely on tracking expand spot for my street photography. It's the best for capturing moving subjects, especially during long exposures, keeping focus locked as subjects move across the frame. For those interested in exploring other options, wide focus covers the whole scene, ideal for open spaces like landscapes or crowded events where you want everything sharp. Zone focuses on a specific area of the frame, useful for tighter compositions or focusing on a group within a scene, good for straightforward framing. And spot focus narrows focus down to a single small area, perfect for isolating details and ensuring accuracy in the skin tones of your portraits. Expand spot gives a little bit of flexibility around a focused point, perfect for models who might be doing a bit of movement within the same area. Each mode has its place, but tracking expand spot is my go-to for capturing dynamic street scenes. Focus mode depends on the scene. For most street shots, I rely on continuous autofocus. It's ideal for tracking moving subjects, keeping them sharp as they move across the frame. If I'm working with something stationary, single autofocus is the ideal choice to lock onto a fixed subject. I'll also use manual focus when I want full control over precision, especially in controlled settings. For those curious, automatic AF or autofocus decides between single and continuous based on movement, adapting to shifting scenes, while DMF or direct manual focus lets you quickly adjust manual after autofocus. I found this mode the most frustrating to use for street photography. Choosing the right focus mode is key to capturing each moment with clarity and purpose. Mastering these settings gives you the freedom to respond to the streets in real time, immortalizing moments as they happen. The more you understand each adjustment, the more natural it becomes, letting you stay immersed in the scene and catch the stories revolving around you.
Now, y'all know I had to bring you to the Chicago sign, cause
Are you really from Chicago if you don't have photos at the Chicago theater? I don't know.
So when I'm stuck in a rut and I feel like I'm not getting the shots that I'm looking for, I just drop my shutter speed and I just start shooting long exposure photography. I'm finding myself starting to love long exposure photography a lot more recently. So yeah, like when I feel like I'm in a rut or I feel like I'm not getting the shots that I would like to, I just, damn, I missed that shot. Y'all see? Damn, that would have been a good shot. Man, y'all better appreciate me. I just missed a great shot with that car.
In street photography, composition is your silent guide, shaping how every moment unfolds within the frame. Henri Cartier-Bresson had an almost instinctual sense for this. His compositions turned everyday life into something iconic. By studying his approach, we can learn how to capture our own scenes with the depth and emotion, turning fleeting moments into something memorable. Cartier-Bresson wasn't just following a checklist of rules, he was redefining them. His methods, inspired by pioneers before him, give us tools that still apply today for capturing depth in urban life. Here are some fundamentals he mastered. Rule of thirds: position your subject along the grid lines or intersections to create balanced, engaging images. And knowing when to break this, like placing the subject off center, can add movement or tension, guiding the story within the frame. Leading lines: elements like streets, shadows, or architecture can draw the eye toward your subject, adding depth and pulling the viewer deeper into the scene. Framing: finding natural frames like doorways or windows highlights your subject and adds layers, creating an immersive effect. Foreground: framing your subject with foreground details like street signs or railings create depth. Reflections: puddles or mirrors add layers, creating depth and intrigue, making even simple scenes feel complex. Balance and symmetry: symmetry can add harmony, while unbalanced compositions create tension or energy. Using these consciously lets you shape the feel of an image. Negative space: thoughtful use of empty space emphasizes the subject, enhancing clarity and impact. But beyond all these principles lies something deeper, an instinct. Cartier-Bresson's mastery wasn't just in knowing the rules, it was knowing when to abandon them, to trust the moment. And that instinct often begins with a feeling, a hesitation before pressing the shutter.
You know what's crazy to me is, for as long as I've been doing photography and street photography, I still myself get stage fright sometimes. Like, I'm hesitating just a little bit too much. I notice myself hesitating to take certain shots because maybe there's so many people around and I don't want to be unobtrusive, or, you know, I'm just scared, a little nervous. And usually when I'm struggling with hesitation, I just like to sit in the area, chill out, vibe, relax. And sooner or later, I'm noticing as moments pass me by, I'm picking up my camera without really thinking about it too much. So if you're noticing yourself being hesitant with your shots, a little nervous, just sit down, relax, vibe out. Just keep your camera in your hand nearby, and sooner or later, hopefully, you'll subconsciously start to pick up your camera as the moments pass you by. Hold up. God damn it, my camera's in the way. Damn. Hey man, y'all better appreciate me. I just missed a good shot because this camera's in the way right here.
Not every shot will be perfect, and that's okay. Each misstep is a chance to learn. I often find the shots I regret are the ones that I hesitated to take. Regular outings build confidence. Whether it's a morning walk or a weekend session, a consistent routine makes you more comfortable in public settings. Respecting people's privacy and space is key. Here's how I navigate this. Use a longer lens. A 50mm or higher allows candid shots from a distance, capturing authentic moments without intruding on personal space. I like to think of myself as a ninja in street photography. Often, I'll glance past subjects rather than directly at them, so they're never quite sure if they're in the frame. Position yourself where you naturally fit in, like a busy intersection or near landmarks. When you look like you belong, people feel less intruded upon. Recently, I got a comment on my video from someone who lives in a country where street photography is prohibited, Germany. Here are some tips that might work. Attending public events, festivals, or markets often allow freedom for candid shots. These settings capture vibrant crowd energy without focusing on individuals. Use obscuring techniques. Try silhouettes, reflections, or partial framing to keep subjects anonymous. Capture context. Emphasize the environment over specific people. Sometimes street photography is as much about the setting as the people in it. Now that we've explored the history, artistry, and techniques of street photography, it's time for a personal touch. Street photography has been an incredible journey of challenges and growth. Early on, I struggled to capture those priceless moments, wrestling with the discomfort of entering people's lives and mastering the technical skills to do it well. But each challenge became a lesson, helping me refine my technique and find my own voice. One experience that stands out was during a Palestinian protest I came across while I was out in the streets. I quickly gripped my camera and sprung into action. I was pretty content with a lot of the photos that I got from this protest, but later in the editing room, one shot in particular amazed me. As I studied the footage, I noticed that I hadn't rushed to press the shutter. I took special notice to how patience brought depth to that image. This moment taught me the power of waiting for scenes to unfold. Applying the techniques we've discussed, I found that combining historical inspiration with personal creativity leads to richer, more compelling images. The legacy of photographers like Nègre and Cartier-Bresson shows us how ordinary moments can become powerful narratives.
Even the shots that I take reminds me of the emotions or the things that I was doing in that day. Like when I see a photo that I took, I usually know what I was doing on that day and the emotions, the things that I was doing in that day. I can usually recollect them when I see them in a photo. That's one of the many reasons why I love photography. One of the biggest challenges in street photography is capturing movement that feels dynamic without losing sharpness. If you've ever struggled with finding that balance between motion blur and clarity, I got the solution. Check out my long exposure photography video here, where I'll show you how to master those techniques and elevate your photography game instantly.